Yo, what up, guys? This is another WBR pod. We're going to give you an Eastern Conference preview. We're going to go by the 2014-2015 season record, starting with the New York Knicks. Last season, they were 17-65. What do you think the future holds for the Knicks, MF?
Yeah, 65 losses last year. I'm going to be the first to say I cannot see this happening again. A lot of people are projecting them to still have a really bad record in the 2015-16 season, but not me. I'm a huge Carmelo Anthony fan. And plus, they also have Robin Lopez, Aaron Aflalo, Jose Calderon, Derek Williams. You know, their bench is awful, but I think just those guys alone have the potential to get them in playoff contention. Barely, maybe 8th or 7th place. They have a chance to get that, starting with Carmelo Anthony, my guy.
Alright, I completely disagree. The New York Knicks are still going to be terrible squad. They're not going to be 17-65 terrible, but they're still not going to be a playoffs team, and we're talking about the East. The only thing I'm excited for is the Knicks is how many 50-point games Carmelo will have. How many times he's going to go off. How many times he's going to pop off. One last question I have for you. What do you think about the rookie Porzingis? A lot of people were upset about this pick. A lot of New Yorkers.
I was one of the only people who wasn't upset. I think he has a really high upside. I think he has potential. Really tall, athletic. I seriously think he has even a chance. I think he has a chance to become Rookie of the Year, actually.
Rookie of the Year.
I truly think so. When he got picked, everyone was booing. Not me. I liked it. I thought this was great.
Andrea Bargnani 2.0?
Oh, no, man. Andrea Bargnani is way worse. You know, I think this is going to be a huge, he has huge potential, I'll tell you that. But Carmelo's my man.
Carmelo. So you have faith in Phil Jackson's decisions?
No, I don't, to be honest. I have faith in Carmelo Anthony, first and foremost. And Robin Lopez, Jose Calderon, I like those guys too, so.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, next we got the Philadelphia 76ers sitting at 18-64.
Yeah, okay, so this one, I don't think they're going to do any good things for the whole year. It's going to be like the same thing like the last couple seasons. But the only thing to look out for is Jahlil Okafor. I don't really watch him much, but I did watch him play in the Duke versus Wisconsin final last year. It was hard to tell because of foul trouble, but he actually played pretty good when it came down the stretch. I want to see what he's going to do. I really don't know if he can do it as well as he did in the NCAA.
I definitely agree they're not going to do much this season. A bunch of young talent. Probably too much young talent, no veterans to steer them in the right way. However, my guy Nick Stauskas.
Okay, yeah.
He's going to launch a couple threes. He's out of the bad situation in the Kings. So there's that. Nerlens Noel, promising young talent. Pretty good.
Joel Embiid as well.
Come on, man.
I mean, I think they just need to be entraining. Sell tickets.
I guess.
Even if
playing, man.
Yeah,
he's got another injury.
Yeah, I know, but
the most action he gets is through Twitter, trolling people.
That's true. But yeah, no, okay, so let's get to the next one though. Orlando Magic. They're an interesting team. Their record last year was 25-57. What do you think they're gonna be able to do this year?
I think they're a sneaky good team. They might be just at the bottom of playoff contention if I were to guess myself, but these guys are going to play hard night in, night out, and they have a really good young nucleus. They got Victor Oladipo, they got Elfrid Payton, and they got my guy Nick Vucevic. This guy's no joke. He competes day in, day out. He could have been an all-star last year, in my opinion. He's like a 20-10 production kind of guy.
Yeah, in the Eastern Conference, I think he
hangs with the best in the West, though.
Yeah.
He gave Boogie, a couple of hard nights. They play hard. These guys are going to beat quality teams, but they're going to lose to bad teams. That's their problem.
Bad teams who they should beat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have to figure out how to win on a nightly basis.
Okay. I think they're not going to make any noise. I don't think they're going to even get close to being in the playoff race. Victor Oladipo, I want to keep my eye on him. I think he's a great player, but everybody else, that whole team, I think they're not even going to make any impact whatsoever.
You don't think so?
Not at all. That's not at all.
They got some interesting pieces though, like the rookie Mario Hezonja.
Yeah, I want to keep an eye out for him too.
He's an interesting one.
Yeah, but especially Victor Oladipo.
I like that. He's a little nutty. And we got Channing Frye on the squad too.
That guy, I do really like him, but man, he's been plagued lately. Or the last multiple years, right?
I guess we'll find out if stretch fives are a real thing or not.
Yeah. We'll get to the next team.
That's going to be the Detroit Pistons, Motor City.
Okay.
Last season they were 32-50.
I like this team. I actually do like this team. First off, Reggie Jackson. Everybody makes fun of this guy, but he plays big, especially in the playoffs when he was in OKC and Kevin Durant and Westbrook weren't doing anything. He actually stepped up. Brandon Jennings, of course, everyone knows what he's all about. Ersan Ilyasova.
Yeah.
This guy is impressive, I'm telling you. But the thing is, Detroit, I truly think they have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm going to say they're going to be between 8th to 10th place in the conference. But one more thing is that how good is OKC at grabbing players? They had Reggie Jackson, Kevin Durant, Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka. They're picking the tall players. Reggie Jackson's salary this year, I think it's at $13 million or something.
Sam Presti, man.
How did they do that?
Genius.
How good are they at drafting? Reggie Jackson is going to be the star point guard now, pretty much. It's crazy.
He's got an eye for talent. But back to the Pistons, I think they go as far as Van Gundy brings them. Last year, he was coaching them really well until Jennings obviously tore his Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
And it went down here from there. But they picked up a couple solid players. Don't sleep on Contavious Caldwell-Pope. He's one to look out for. And they acquired Aaron Baines from the Spurs. He's a banger. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But yeah, I do like them. I think Detroit Pistons are going to be worth watching. Definitely.
Okay. Over 500 or under 500 team?
I think they're over 500.
Over 500?
Just barely, but they are.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be a 500 team to make playoffs in the
You
East.
don't. But I think they will be.
Over 500?
Yeah. Okay, so the next one here, we got the Charlotte Hornets. We got their last season record was 33-49, led by Al Jefferson. They got Nick Batum. What do you think about this?
Well,
their
they
chances?
finally shipped Lance Stevenson, the chemistry breaker.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I think they're destined to stay about the same. Fringe playoff team, maybe make playoff team. If they do make the playoffs, first round exit, they got a couple things to figure out.
Yeah.
If they want to rebuild, or they rebuild through the draft, or try to get a big name superstar. But which big name superstar wants to play for the Charlotte Hornets?
Yeah, that's true. I completely agree. I think they're going to stay around the same. Al Jefferson's going to do whatever he's going to do, But to me, Nick Batum, I think he's very overrated. I'm going to just say it right now. He's getting paid $13 million. $13 million, and for what he does, especially near the end of last season, I think that's why.
That's because of injury, though. So he's a good player. He's a glue guy.
I think he's a good player, but $13 million type of player, I don't even think he's close. So I'm going to say Charlotte Hornets about the same. Nothing too much.
All right, let's move on to the Miami Heat. Last season, they were 37-45.
Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Yeah, Miami
Heat. This is the most interesting team in the East.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, they're a team that needs to make the playoffs, and that's when they're the scariest. I don't think they're necessarily going to be the best regular season team because they have a mix of aging players. They got to figure out their offense. They got to get Goran Dragic to really assimilate in the offense and run the show. But their roster on paper, they're deep. They got veterans. They got young talent, and they got Hassan Whiteside.
That's true.
He's the biggest question mark on the team. They go as far as Hassan Whiteside brings them, and obviously they're getting Chris Bosh back.
Especially the playoffs, you're right. The playoffs are the most important thing to me with the Miami Heat because I think they're going to make the playoffs no matter what for sure. Bosh, who knows how he's feeling after those blood clots. Dwayne Wade, he's going to take it slow for the whole season. So it's really on Dragic and Bosh to push them into the playoffs. But to me, Justice Winslow, amazing pick. I can't believe they even got that pick.
I can't believe you slid that far either.
Yeah.
Amazing pickup.
That was it's going to fit perfectly into their system, I think, with Hassan Whiteside as well.
Hey, man, they got Stoudemire as well, though.
Oh, yeah, they do have Amari. I forgot about that.
So if he can channel any of the Phoenix Stoudemire, coming off the bench, he can do a little bit of damage.
He played pretty good last year, I have to say, for Dallas. He actually made some pretty good plays. But Miami Heat, I think they're going to be very interesting, especially in the playoffs. They have a great starting lineup. That's the key thing for me. Their bench is not very good, but their starting lineup is, I think it's, top notch.
Yeah, that's true. Hats off to Pat Riley, though.
Yeah, he knows how to...
After LeBron left, he rebuilt his team fast.
He did, and Hassan Whiteside is just like a diamond in the dirt. I can't believe it. He's amazing. So now we get to another extremely interesting team. The Indiana Pacers. Last year they had a little slow start. 38-44. Paul George went down during that international game, that gruesome injury. But he's looking good. Preseason, he's looking great, getting back into shape. What do you think they're gonna be doing? Because they lost Roy Hibbert and David West. David West was my favorite player, but they got Monte Ellis. What do you think?
They're gonna play fast. That's what they're gonna do. This team needs to play fast. They're gonna play small ball. They're gonna push the pace, and they're just gonna try to outscore the other team. They're gonna try to create a lot of matchup problems because they're gonna try to stick Paul George at a lot of power forward, and power forwards can't handle Paul George's his speed and his shooting. So he really stretches the floor to really bring the defenders out, as well as he can attack the rack because they can't shuffle their feet fast enough to stop this guy.
So how successful do you think they're, if they play faster, that's gonna be for them?
They might squeak into the playoffs. They might not, but I think this season is probably gonna be a wash for them. They have to pick up a few more pieces until they're really gonna start contending, and we don't know how well Paul George is gonna play. He looks great, but then he might slow down halfway through the season. He might be fatigued because he has to guard power forwards now. That's another issue with them. He's gonna get banged around a little bit. He can't handle the power forward position on defense. So
yeah, it's gonna take a toll on the offense. But they do have Monte Ellis. I think they're gonna be about similar to what they were last year, except I think they will make the playoffs, and I think they're gonna be that type of team that good teams, really elite teams, don't want to face, just because they have to give a lot of effort to beat them, and it'll take a toll on them. But I do think they're going to make the playoffs and perhaps do some okay things.
Okay, we'll move right on to the Brooklyn Nets. Last year they're 38-44. What do you think they're going to do this?
Yeah, no, they're not going to make the playoffs. Brooklyn Nets will not make the playoffs. Joe Johnson's getting paid $24.9 million. I think he's the most clutch player in the league, but I do not think they have the offense or even the defense to make it into the playoffs, even in this low Eastern Conference. Brook Lopez has been playing better last year, but to me, no, they won't even make the playoffs.
Well, if Brook Lopez stays away from injury, they can do a little bit of damage, but yeah, I think they're on the decline, even though they never really had a peak. But there's some problems with this franchise, and they really got to sort it out if they want any type of success.
I really liked them with Paul Pierce. I really did. I thought they were pretty good, but
that's what happens when you dump a lot of money in for just vets, right? You can't buy a championship.
Yeah, that's true. They had the most expensive starting lineup, but it didn't result in anything proper. So I'm gonna say no. They're not gonna do too many things this season.
Didn't the owner say he was gonna bring a championship within 5 years? If he doesn't, he'd marry his girlfriend or whatever. That's something he said, right?
Yeah,
so
that's something he said.
You better put a ring on it this season.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the next one here. This is a cool team, Boston Celtics. So their record last year was 40-42. They were actually one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs. Led by the coach, actually, Brad Stevens. Good young coach. He made a lot of things happen with a pretty minimal team, honestly.
He's a great coach, though. He makes it work with what he has.
Yeah.
He had a pretty interesting offense going on last year, and he had Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas was doing great.
Running the offense well. Then he had a lot of stretch fours, shoot a lot of threes inside, outside in kind of game.
They were really exciting. I thought even in the playoffs when they got swept by the Cavs, but it was entertaining. But now they have David Lee and Amir Johnson. Amir Johnson's getting paid $12 million.
Yeah.
That's am I reading that correct? $12 million? That's insane.
A lot of people got paid this offseason.
David Lee's getting paid $15.5 million. I thought he was overrated, but you guys saw how useful he actually was in the finals last year.
He's a high skill player.
That was impressive.
He gets buckets. He can get you buckets.
Bogut sat off. They brought the difference in the playoffs, I thought, was when they brought David Lee in. It changed the whole dynamic of the finals. That's what gave the Cavs the most trouble, I thought. So I think Boston Celtics have a chance to make the playoffs.
They probably will make the playoffs. They can make a bit of noise, but it's hard to get far without a legitimate superstar.
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
But we'll see what Brad Stevens can pull out because he got a little bit of upgrade in his roster.
Yeah, he has a little bit more to work with. I think he's going to use David Lee amazingly.
Option one?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Isaiah Thomas, they're going to run some two-man game.
Yeah. Things are looking up for the Celtics, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. We'll move on to the 6th seed last year. That's the Milwaukee Bucks. They were a 500 team, 41-41 last year. What do you think about the Bucks?
I like this team. I like this team, especially on defense. They got Greg Monroe, OJ Mayo, Middleton, and my guy, MCW, Michael Carter-Williams. I think they have a really good chance of making a lot of noise in the playoffs. Last year, they didn't have Jabari Parker. He was out. I think he's going to do really well this year, help out the offense as well.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that they're lacking, their offense.
Yeah.
Their D is really good. They have some good front line, and they have a really long backcourt. I think they're going to do some more things than they did last year.
Yeah. Did you even mention Giannis?
I did not mention Giannis, but I should. He's an amazing player.
But they have a really interesting squad. They have 5 guys that can guard all 5 positions.
Yeah, that's a really valuable thing.
They switch off everything,
Yeah.
and these guys are young. They're a really great defensive team.
I thought they could have beat Chicago last year. Like I really did in the playoffs.
But that wouldn't have been the Bucks beating them. That would have been more of a collapse from Chicago.
Yeah,
right?
I think that too. Yeah,
That's a little different, right? It could have been any team.
That's a good
to
point.
beat Chicago.
I think so. I think it could have been I think the Celtics could have had a good chance against them, just because Chicago can't score.
Yeah, I think the Bucks need a couple of shooters, and the problem with MCW though is he's missing a jump shot.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of the NBA that you need nowadays.
True.
So,
but their defense is
Yeah.
insane. They get high amounts of steals. Everybody swipes at the ball. Everybody's lanky and kind of the new breed NBA player.
it really helps that they're in the Eastern Conference. Like they're West, they don't have enough
Yeah.
offense to really make anything happen. But on the defensive end, Eastern Conference, they have a really good opportunity.
Yeah. And can I just say one thing? How good of a job Jason Kidd did as a coach.
Oh yeah, he did. He did do a really good
He
job.
left a poor situation
Yeah.
in Brooklyn and completely changed his roster around.
Yeah,
He really showed them how to win.
I was skeptical about him at first, but now after
I
last
think
year,
everybody was
Yeah,
skeptical, but he really showed.
yeah, he really showed his worth. So we'll move on to the next one here.
Okay, let's get into the thick of things. The top 5 teams from last season. And we'll start with the Washington Wizards. Last season they were 46-36.
Yeah, this year I think they're going to be on a slight decline. And I say slight because I still think they're going to be able to do a lot of good things, led by John Wall, of course. But losing Paul Pierce to me was a big deal. How many times have you seen him in the playoffs? Like he was the headline, or he was the main reason they lost or won, that type of thing. I think they're going to be about the same, but John Wall's going to be even better, as well as Bradley Beal. But losing Paul Pierce to me makes their playoff contention less legitimate.
That's about right. And I think Gortat goes a long way to how successful they are. Same with Nene. Nene really needs to crunch in and dial up his play a bit, because in the playoffs he was near invisible.
He was.
But when he's on, he's one of the better big men in the league.
Yeah. I think Washington Wizards, they're a fun team to watch, especially. I'd say about the same, slightly worse.
Slightly worse?
Yeah, slightly worse.
So you think they're gonna get KD? This is gonna go for KD.
You know what? I think they're gonna get KD. If KD does something like this year that's not very good, or he gets upset with the organization, or vice versa, I think he goes to Washington, and I think that would be best for the league. Westbrook would have his own team, which would be amazing. Everybody would tune into that, and
the whole landscape of the East would completely change if KD goes.
Yeah, everything East would be the dominant force, and people would be watching that in the playoffs. So we'll get on to the next one here, which is the Toronto Raptors. Their record was 49-33 last year. What do you think about this? They got Damari Carroll.
Yep.
But they lost Amir Johnson. They got Corey Joseph as well. What do you think?
I think they're gonna do pretty well, but it all depends on Kyle Lowry. You see, he dropped a lot of weight. He's not as pit bullish as anymore. I think he realized.
That's a big deal. Yeah. To me as well.
But also, Terrence Ross really needs to step up his production, and they need to establish who the number one guy is. DeMar DeRozan. Not Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, you're here to run the offense. You're not the number one option. Don't shoot 20 times a game.
Why do they have so much faith in him is what I don't understand. We watch the game all the time. it's just he's not that good. I don't see. Well, you know what? Losing all that weight is a big deal, though. Maybe he's gonna play a lot better, quicker. But his decision making is just so questionable to me. But the biggest thing to me that's the problem with the Toronto Raptors is the coaching staff, because I think with Damari Carroll and Corey Joseph, they actually have an okay lineup.
Yeah.
To play pretty good. Like you give Mike Budenholzer that team, he takes you to deeper than the first round, like easily.
It's
to
true.
me. Yeah,
it's true. Well, and Jonas needs to get more touches. He works way too hard, and he does all the dirty work, and he never gets rewarded.
Yeah,
You can see it in his body language near the end of the game, because he's working so hard on defense, but he knows he's not going to get rewarded. It's almost as if he doesn't want to do those things, because what's the point? He's going to go, Kyle Lowry's going to jack up a hero shot, miss, and they lose the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. It just all starts with the coaching staff. I used to think, he was pretty good, but no, not anymore.
Dwayne Casey?
Casey, they need a better coaching staff, period. That's what I think, that's the biggest thing. Plus, they also need another star. And then they get those, they'll be pretty good.
All right, we'll move on to the Chicago Bulls. Last season, they were 50-32. What do you think? I know you got a lot to say about this squad.
I have a lot to say about this, and it starts with Derrick Rose. I said it for the past maybe 2 years now. He is a curse to the Chicago Bulls. They fired Tom Thibodeau.
Blessing in disguise.
And I just don't understand what they're doing. They need to get rid of Derrick Rose. They will not succeed as long as he's in a Bulls uniform. You guys heard it here first. Chicago Bulls will not succeed if Derrick Rose is in the lineup. The last 3 years he's played so few games, and when he does play, it's always like, oh yeah, he's still injured, he's blah blah blah. Like he fluked that game when he shot last year, which just made me cringe. They do have a new coach. I don't know much about him, to be quite honest with you. So I want to see how that's going to be. But Tom Thibodeau is one of the elite defensive coaches. So I think the Chicago Bulls are still going to be pretty good because they're going to have that defensive, that grit already indented into them. But if they want to win more games, Derrick Rose has to play a lot better, especially on offense, and Pau Gasol's got to get more into the offense as well.
I gotta disagree with you. I think the Bulls are gonna do great this season. They're taking the Warriors approach. Got rid of a great coach in Tom Thibodeau, but I think they needed a new coach, a new landscape. As for the whole Derrick Rose thing, I actually thought he was in position to have a really good bounce back season this season, and I say that because all the media was off him. Can he play a full season? Yeah. Is he gonna get injured? All that stuff. He played through more or less a full season. He played through playoffs. He started to trust his body more and more, so he can kind of get better numbers without a lot of media scrutiny. Except for he keeps going on interviews saying weird things about his contract,
free agency and all that. Like, what is he doing?
He's distracting his team, and then he goes and then he breaks his orbital bone. So there's a lot of skeptics, and I think the Chicago fans are really restless. They want the squad to do well, and they put so much faith in him, but he hasn't been producing.
Do you know how long he's going to be out for?
No, he'll probably be back. It's just an orbital. He'll wear a mask. He's good to go.
Yeah, even if he misses like a couple of the first games, it's not a big deal.
But I think they're going to do well because they got Pau. He had a great FIBA this past offseason, and they have Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler. The number one option in the team.
He improves every season. He improves every single season. Yeah. So I feel as if with the core they have, and they have Mirotic, he just keeps getting better and better. And because they changed the coach, right, they can maybe utilize the sophomore Doug McDermott. Mm-hmm. And then they still have some solid guards. I think roster wise, with the new coach, if they figure everything else out, they could be a contender, man.
I think so, but to me, it all depends on Pau Gasol. He plays well. He gives them like good offense. Plus, if Derrick Rose chips in and Butler does, his offense and his defense, they have a chance. But I think they're gonna be slightly worse than they were last year. Or around the same. Nothing more, nothing less, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the main team, my team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who should have been the NBA champions last year. I'm just going to say it. They got too many injuries. It starts off with LeBron, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving are going to be back. But the key thing for me is Anderson Varejao. he's back in the lineup, and I've always had a lot of faith in him. He's extremely injury prone, so I would love to see his minutes limited. Timothy Mozgov.
Well, let's just address the elephant in the room first.
Tristan Thompson. Okay. I think he's gonna get signed. Whether it be like last second or whatever. I think LeBron is gonna make it his prerogative to get Tristan Thompson signed.
But what are the Cavs doing? They're dropping so much money on the front line.
Yeah.
And they're paying Anderson Varejao, who hasn't played. If you know your whole gripe with Derrick Rose not playing a lot of games.
Yep.
Anderson Varejao hasn't played.
Yeah, but
he's not a superstar.
He's not an MVP.
Payroll.
Yeah, it's about $13 million. Amir Johnson's getting paid the same.
Yeah, and he plays games.
Yeah,
Johnson plays games.
Yeah, but not well. Nick Batum's getting paid $13 million. He's not that good of a player either.
Yeah, but he he suits up and plays games.
But Anderson Varejau's potential is more than $13 million.
Yeah, then with a lackluster.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, but with the lackluster season, Kevin Love gets a max. Some of that money could have went to Tristan Thompson.
Could have. Yeah,
I'm pissed.
He is pissed, but
he's not getting taken care of from the organization.
But he's still gonna get paid
of LeBron.
Yeah, but he's still gonna get paid like a lot. I still think. Well, my opinion, they're gonna draft him or sign him. Whether it be the last minute.
The only way they're gonna sign him is if another team gives him an offer and they have to match.
Yeah.
Because right now it's a lockout. It's a big distraction. Everybody's talking about it.
They should have signed him sooner. I'll completely agree with that. But I still think they're gonna somehow retain him.
Yeah, but they paid Mozgov.
Yeah, they paid Mozgov.
Not paying him.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't understand.
One more thing about Tristan Thompson though. I think he overachieved last year, and I don't think his play in the playoffs resembles how good he actually is. I don't think he's as good as he was in the playoffs. I think it was like a kind of a freak thing. He got a little bit.
I think he's better.
But I think Mozgov is better. I just think Mozgov is better.
More valuable.
Well, he is younger
and he's younger. He has a higher upside.
He has a higher upside, but I think
he's just a glass eater though. He goes for boards. He does go for boards. He's the motor of the team.
Yeah, but to me, he's like a worse version of DeAndre Jordan type of thing. Like he doesn't do.
Yeah, but DeAndre Jordan's a max player.
Yeah.
Well, he is kind of trying to get a max too, but
yeah, but DeAndre Jordan is way better than Tristan Thompson. Like I'll just say that.
Talent-wise, right? Just because he's a freak.
Yeah.
Well, they're all freaks.
They are. But one more thing, they do have Mo Williams. I think that's a big deal because last year they needed a little bit of extra offense. When LeBron sat down in the finals, it was just brutal.
So you think they can stay healthy to go all the way?
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving has a long history of injuries.
He does, but he was playing amazing. Game 1 in the finals last year was like wow when he blocked Steph Curry to save the game.
But what happens if he gets injured again? Then we're gonna have to see another LeBron 1 versus 5.
Yeah, we absolutely. But if that does happen, Mo Williams will help out a little bit because
You really think so?
He had a 50-point game last year.
And Mo Williams in the past before.
Yeah, but LeBron's team is better now. Kevin Love, he's got Anderson Varejao, Mozgov, Tristan Thompson. I think Cavs, they stay healthy. Even if like Irving or Kevin Love, one of them goes down, I still think they go far.
Well, they are in the East.
Well, our predictions will come in another podcast. They are in the East, so they can beat everyone in the East still.
But obviously the biggest challenge is when they get to the playoffs.
The finals.
The finals.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge because they're...
It's all about matchups, I suppose.
It is. They're most likely going to go to the finals according to the odds if you guys check out betting.
Yeah, because of the weaker conference.
Yeah, but, they still have a good chance to even win the finals. So we got to move on, though. The next one is the Atlanta Hawks, the team that nobody really expected to come through. They had a
blazing record of 60-22.
A blazing record. That's exactly right.
I'm going to go on a limb here. It's not going to happen again.
You're going to go out on a limb?
That's not a limb, but it's not going to happen again. Mike Budenholzer, their amazing coach.
They lost Amari Carroll.
Yeah,
that's a huge deal. But they gained Thiago Splitter.
Yeah,
he's a good player for this type of system. What do you think about that?
I think.
And how far do you think they're gonna go? Like what type of?
I think if they get the momentum rolling again, they can't do what they did last season and start resting guys.
Oh.
You saw what happened. They lost all their chemistry. And it just went downhill when they started resting players and went on a big losing streak after.
Their 3-point shooting went so down.
After the All-Star break, he pulled Popovich and started resting players. But I don't think the squad was ready or mature enough to do that much resting because they were so far ahead in the East.
Oh yeah, they were like a lot of games.
However, they're still missing that one superstar. Because when it's crunch time,
Yeah.
they don't have a guy to find who to go to.
So what I think about the Atlanta Hawks is they overachieved completely with their amount of talent. They did a lot better than they should have. That is all credit to the coach of the year, Mike Budenholzer.
That's true.
Like they played so unselfish. It was like watching Kentucky play in the NCAA. Everyone's just passing around like minimal shot attempts. Paul Millsap is a great player.
So you think Kyle Korver, 50-50-90 club?
Man, he was amazing to watch last year. He seriously was. He nearly did that. Nearly did the 50-50-90 club, which has never been done before. Well, I think Steve Kerr
But there's
did
a little
it.
asterisks because of
Yeah.
the amount of games he played.
Yeah, he played so few games, so we're not even gonna count that. But I think Atlanta Hawks are gonna still be a good team. Losing to Mari Carroll was a big deal. As much as like I don't think a lot of people are gonna consider
Well,
that.
he's the glue guy.
Yeah,
So,
his defense, especially on good players, primetime players, I think that's gonna be a big deal.
but look out for Thiago Splitter to have a big impact.
Yeah, him too. I think he's gonna be a good addition. So, yeah.
All right, guys, that's our Eastern Conference prediction. Stay
Oh, yeah.
tuned for the Western Conference one.
Oh, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
That's
so-
where the heavy hitters are.
That is. I'm gonna go off on that.
And we're gonna come, and then we'll end off with our season predictions, MVP, winners, rookie of the year,
Yeah,
everything.
lots
Stay
coming
tuned,
up, guys. Lots coming up. All right.